Hi, it's Jane Jackson, and welcome to Your Career Podcast. Here's where you'll get the career tips and inspiration you need to take control of your career. Welcome to episode 273 of Your Career Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome back to Your Career Podcast Jane Anderson. 9 years ago, almost to this day, I interviewed Jane about her career journey and consulting business. Fast forward 9 years and we catch up on all that's been happening in her world and highly successful business. Jane is a strategic communications expert with over 20 years of experience in corporate communications, personal branding, and business growth. She has worked with over 180,000 people, especially women, to build more trust and influence in their businesses and brands. Jane has been voted in the top 3 branding gurus globally. She has won over 50 sales, branding, marketing, and business coaching awards, and she's one of the top 1% of the most viewed LinkedIn profiles. She's the host of the iTunes podcast, The Jane Anderson Show, interviewing people like Seth Godin, and has been featured in Business Insider, Sky Business, Sydney Morning Herald, and The Age. She's also a contributor to Forbes magazine. Her clients have included some of the world's leading experts in their field, as well as iconic brands such as Virgin Australia, Lego, Ikea, Rio Tinto, and Origin Energy. She's the author of 13 books, including Put Yourself Out There, Elevate Your Presence, and Increase Your Influence. And let's welcome the wonderful Jane Anderson to the show.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for having me. We've got the Jane show today.
I know, Jane and Jane, how good can that be? And also, I just reminded you before we started, the last time I interviewed you was almost 9 years to this day, 22nd of April 2016. You talked about your career journey and amazing business at that time, and so much has happened since then.
Isn't that incredible? I just can't believe that it's been that period of time. And 2016, I will always remember because it was the year that so much was happening in the personal branding career space. And that was my most hectic year that I ever had. So I have fond memories of that year. It was a crazy year. And but I'm glad that you were in it as well and that we got to catch up too and talk about all things career and personal branding, no doubt at the time.
Yeah, oh no, I remember 2016 fondly. My oldest daughter got married that year.
That's right.
And then
Yes.
9 years later, there are 2 married daughters and 3 grandsons. So my,
Wow.
but for you, Jane, you've had a lot of amazing professional achievements and over 60 awards in lots of areas. And first of all, I must say congratulations on your latest award, the
Thank
Australian
you.
Small Business Champion Award. It looked like a glittering event and a lot of fun too.
It was a lot of fun. And, my husband was with me and we didn't think they were going to read out the names because they started to read out the finalists. And I thought, oh, I was like, oh, they're fascinating people. I'll just start eating dessert. I was like, I don't think I'm out. And then they called out and my husband and I jumped so high. I think he thought we'd won a Logie or something. It was great.
Oh, well,
It was a
it's
lot of
always
fun.
exciting to see someone who puts so much effort and energy and love into her business to be recognized for such great work. So congratulations.
Thank
Another
you.
award. I wonder when the next one's going to come.
Yeah. Oh, who knows?
Well, keep doing what you do and you will. But, I just want to talk a little bit about on the personal side, Jane, you've had a lot of wonderful successes as well and happy things happen in your life the past 9 years. Do you want to just briefly talk us through that?
Oh, thanks, Jane. Yes. Well, I think if I go back to that sort of time, it was coming off, during that time, there was so much speaking. I was on the road a lot back then, and I hadn't, I hadn't got engaged. I hadn't met my husband then, actually. So, which is why I was on the road so much. And then I met my now husband. So we got married. We obviously had COVID and a lot of change happened then. We were supposed to get married during COVID and then had to move that out. But yeah, we've had a few changes of types of programs, more specific type of work with specific type of people. I was doing a lot of working with organizations and individuals at the time, and now I just specifically hone in on people who are experts in their field. Yeah, we got, one of the dreams I'd always had is, I said I just always would love a dog. I've never been allowed to have a dog growing up, no pets. And so, yeah, we got to tick a couple of bucket list items, and we got a dog. I've got the most stubborn bulldog in the world. He tests all my communication skills to convince him to do what I need him to do. But it's great. There was a lot happening at that time, and I remember just a lot of late nights working really hard to do the work we're doing. And so it's interesting to be on this side of all that work now to go, yeah, this is a bit better now. Like it was great. Everything was going really great, but it was a lot of hard work. So now it's still hard work, but everything's far more established now. So it's a nice side of the fence to be on.
Oh, I think it just sounds so wonderful because having that wonderful balance in your life must just bring you so much joy because, working very hard, obviously, it's very important too. And you help so many people to thrive in their businesses. But for you to have so much joy within your personal life and, oh, furry friends are wonderful. Husbands are wonderful too.
Yes,
And I'm a crazy cat lady, but
you are.
I
I
do
know.
I do admire your dog. He looks great.
He's
So,
a rat bag.
but a lot of fun as well.
They
So
are.
Jane, let's talk through some of the things that have happened in your life and career and how it actually got you to here. Now, in episode 77 of your career podcast, you talk about your career journey, and
Mm,
so everyone can listen to the early days in that episode. But
mm.
today, let's talk about your most pivotal moments in your career because you've experienced a number of transitions personally and professionally. But what would you say was the most pivotal moment in your career?
Yeah. There's so many pivotal moments. So hard to pick one, but I think the one that was something that changed the course of a lot of things, I think was really when my husband and I divorced, my first husband and I divorced, and I wasn't allowed to have a business back then. He was, while we're together, you will never have your own business, and that had been my dream since I was a kid. And so he was like, no, you will always be the breadwinner. You will always have an income. I will get to do what I want to do. He wanted to do all sorts of things that were entrepreneurial things, but I wasn't allowed. And, as soon as that happened, that divorce happened, I was like, right, I'm on my mission. So that was a really significant thing for me and I, said no to a lot of things for some time to make sure that worked. I had to do a lot to just make sure of my independence and that I would be okay. And so I think that was probably the biggest one, and that has led to where we are today. But there's lots of other things. I had incredible female leaders and bosses in my career who were they did wonderful things for me to push me into uncomfortable things and challenging things, but they believed in me. I think having a great leader, always means the world, and that you'll always do things that are pivotal and uncomfortable. But geez, they've certainly led me down this path and for me to have the confidence and belief because I've had great role models.
Mhm. I wonder if it's because you've had such great role models who have made such a positive impact in your life that now you're an amazing role model for all these women consultants working in business. They're becoming thought leaders through the programs and support that you provide to them. Do you think your early mentoring has really created that drive for you to help others as well?
Yeah, I think probably two things. One is having them as role models. I
Mm.
often think back, there's often times I'll go, what would Tracy say or what would Fiona say, if they were in this situation? So I do often think of them. Um, but I also think of my parents. My parents are extremely hardworking. I grew up in the country, And I didn't grow up with entrepreneurial parents, but they are extremely hardworking. They do not stop. They're in their late 70s now, and they still don't stop. They can outwork me, and they'll still be doing things late at night. And anyway, but so I think the work ethic I got from my parents, but the leadership skills I got certainly from my mentors. And you're right. I do draw on reflection of things I've learnt from them. And if I'm thinking about, I'm not sure what to do in a situation, I will always think back to them. I still have great relationships with them too. I'm still in touch with them. It's really nice to feel connected to them. And I think you always, they create a bit of a compass for you and your values because they're things that you've connected to with them, and that's why they got the most out of you. So yeah, there's things that I'm definitely putting my clients into uncomfortable situations that they don't always, they hang on with white knuckles and think, oh my God, I hope she's right. So yeah, but you have to, we're here to help transform people, and they're not going to do that by sitting back and hoping that it all happens for them. Our job as a leader is to guide them and to, help them go through that change that they are really looking for.
Mm. Yeah, I think because of your experiences too, Jane, because you have taken a leap of faith on a number of times and thought,
Mm.
okay, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And sometimes we need that little bit of courage just to take that scary step in order to get to where we really want to be. There's someone who I've always been inspired by, and that was Matt Church,
Mm.
who you joined in the very early days, his thought leadership program,
Yeah.
and that captured my attention because Matt Church, in the very, very early days, was a fitness leader,
Yeah, in
and
your world.
back in
That's right.
back in my days,
Yeah.
in the mid to late 80s through to the
Yes.
mid 90s, I was very much into fitness as well, and I
Yes.
attended some of his fitness boot camps, which was incredible. And then
Yeah.
now going into thought leadership, what a wonderful trajectory. And so for you, Jane, tell us about your experience going through the thought leadership program.
Look, Matt Church is, someone who's changed my life. So I always admire him. So I worked with Matt for 10 years in Thought Leaders Business School. I was on faculty in there for that time. But I didn't know about Matt. It was that I met with someone here in Brisbane who was doing some work with himself and Christina Guidotti, a coach here up on the Sunshine Coast. And I was at a stage in my growth, and this was back in about 2012, and I was hitting a ceiling in my practice. I just seemed to, be going, oh man, like this is tough. What, like, do I do online courses? Do I start speaking? I don't really know what to do to get through this ceiling that seemed to be a bit of a block. And someone said to me, "Oh, you need to talk to Matt Church. He does this thought leadership thing." And so that was how I met him. And as you said, he created a fantastic program, which is the Thought Leaders Business School. I was in the first group there. We had 30 of us on that first day. It was, but the things that Matt teaches and the process and the methodology around building a practice. What I really love about what he teaches is it's about creating a sustainable practice. It's not about, there's no, awards for who does it the fastest and, who's got the best topic, or it doesn't matter. It's whatever's right for you. It's your journey. And I love that he is able to see. What I learned from him was being able to see. I learned a lot, but the biggest thing I learned from him was being able to see people's uniqueness
Mm.
and their wisdom and their knowledge, and how to translate that into something that people will value and pay for.
Mhm. And you do that for so many female consultants
We
now
do now.
too, and
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of fun.
so very successfully because honestly, what you've done to help transform other people's businesses has been absolutely amazing. So, what would you say is your mission for your life and career?
Yeah, so my mission is actually, I have it plastered a few spots, but yeah, you can see a little bit of it behind me, but my mission is to create the community of Australia's leading female business to business consultants. So thought leaders, consultants, advisors. There's, I think, what I have learned is that this is how it works here in Australia. It doesn't always translate globally. And because during COVID, off the back of COVID, I worked with a lot of people who are overseas. I was doing some UK clients and the US. But, one is we have fantastic talent here. Secondly, is that the way clients buy here quite often, or the trends that are happening here, are sometimes a little bit different than overseas. And that's often driven by legislation, like for example, at the moment, respect at work policies that are in organisations. There's a lot happening in that space. So I learnt that actually, the more relevant we are here, the better result we are. So I'm really grateful I don't work with a massive amount of people. I work with people more intimately, and I work, with them for some time. I have some that have been with me for 10 years. And they're women who are, and I do coach some men as well. They come sort of one-on-one, but 90% of the people I work with are women. And Jane, they are at the absolute prime of their career. They've come out of this time, and you see them all the time, where they come out of, they've done the apprenticeship, they've done the leadership roles, they've done everything to the optimum of what they're capable of, and now they've gone. Kids might have left home, it's their turn now. And so they're kind of going, okay, well, I love what I do. I don't particularly want to stop working. And women are living a lot longer. And so they're going, well, how do you have this life by design where you can do that work that, as Matt would say, you love the work that you love to do and do it with people you love working with and do it in the way that you want. So my philosophy is to help them have a lot of fun, which is about who you hang out with, the company you keep, fulfillment from the work that you're doing, and the freedom, creating the lifestyle how you want to do it. And so, yeah, so now I think this is what I'm noticing is that they are finding a lot more fulfillment, joy, choice around how they want to live. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and they can do it for as long as they like. They can. We have some that they've retired now. I've got one a lady like Joanne Love, for example. So she's a Paralympics Australian. She was the Paralympic Australian swim coach, and she built up a practice. She built up a big program that she sold off for multiple seven figures. And now she travels the world going on holidays, and she speaks at the occasional swimming conference about high performance. So, it's exciting when you see people make these courageous decisions and start to see the results of all their incredible work. It's really exciting. I get very excited for them. It's great.
I'm excited just listening to you. And
Yeah.
also it shows that it's never really too late to begin, isn't it?
No, no.
Because yeah, if you're a woman and you're coming into your own, and now you've got the time, and you might feel a little bit lost because you've always been in employment, or maybe you've been bringing up the children, or maybe there's an area of expertise that you haven't tapped into, and you think, what's next?
Yeah,
Going into a consulting business and then growing that, and also creating more fun in your life. If it's not fun, I always say, really, what's the point? Because our
yeah,
careers are one aspect of our lives, but it's such a big aspect of our lives that you've got to enjoy it. And
yeah.
when you're successful at it as well, then that makes it even more enjoyable rather than a hard slog. So your mission is fabulous. What do you think, Jane, has been the most challenging for the clients that you work with?
Yeah, I think the most challenging thing is isolation. So
Mhm.
it's a lonely game,
Mhm.
and it's very difficult to do it on your own and by yourself unless you have people around you who understand what you do. And that's why I created a community program. I was doing a lot of coaching, and I still do that. There's the odd person who I work with who really doesn't need community. They've already got good networks around them. But more often than not, I find for a lot of women, they do a lot of things on their own. They struggle. They love to get together, though. They love that support network when you put it around them. So what I do is I create like a advisory board or a board of directors around each person, and so that means they've got people around them who understand what they're going through, can impart advice. It's not always just me. There's others who have experience too. And so I think when you've got that and you've got that social proof and validation around you, what happens is it changes their self-belief because they see something that one person does and they go, oh, well, maybe I could do that because I now know that person. And because you see these things on social media or they share that they've won these awards or whatever and they go, oh, they're so amazing, I'm nothing like them. But when they actually know these people and they're on in their community, is that they go, well, how did you do that? And they're willing to share, and that's what makes it a lot more fun because the confidence comes a lot quicker. But we also do things, social things, like we did a trip to New Zealand and we did a holiday thing. And so, it's also what are the fun elements that it's not often you get to hang out with people who really understand what you do.
Yes, and being able to bring the personal side in, it means that you're not just developing business relationships, you're developing genuine friendships that will
That's right.
last a lifetime as well. That's fabulous. And when some of your clients are struggling, what is your process that you take them through to get to the other side?
Yeah, I think there's probably two different times where the biggest challenges are. One is startup, where they haven't got the clarity of the messaging, the positioning, what makes them unique, and just the infrastructure that goes into making it all happen.
Mhm.
So clarity is the first bit, getting going. And then the second time where the biggest challenge hits is they're often going through a growth trajectory. Their pricing is a little low, and that low pricing has worked to a certain extent, but now they're too busy and now they're burnt out.
Mhm.
So at that time is we have to bring in the right support, make sure that we can keep their practice progressing. And it's hard because they're heavy delivery and we're changing some of the things happening in the practice. It's quite a stressful time for them. But I say it's the only time that there's this big speed bump that we have to get over that is at a particular time in the practice. And I say this is actually the time where most people get stuck because they don't know how to get through and get over that speed bump. But we put a lot of effort into the support to get them through that speed bump, systems, support, pricing, all those things. And then geez, it's nice when they're on the other side of it.
Then they can breathe a sigh of relief until
They can. Yeah, they
something
get the
comes
time
along to
back.
change things.
That's it. They get to breathe.
Yes. With all the changes that are happening in the world at the moment, I mean, the demographic changes, economic changes, technological changes, a big thing that has affected so many of the people that I work with, and consequently there are redundancies and they have to reinvent their careers,
Right.
is AI. Now,
Yeah.
I always say it's important to grow and change and not stick your head in the sand and accept what's different. And it doesn't matter, where you are in your career, there will always be changes. There'll
Mm.
always be changes in your life. And with AI affecting so many businesses, some are afraid of it. Some are using it as a crutch now, but others are learning how to use it properly as a tool. What's your take on the changes that are affecting each and every one of us now because of AI?
It's just incredible, isn't it, Jane? Like, I can't believe the changes. We do an AI masterclass with
Mhm.
the community every quarter, and the things that I'm presenting is going, okay, well, here's the things that have happened in the last 90 days. It's just phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, so key things is most of my clients are solopreneurs. They have 1 to 2 staff. So we don't build big businesses. We're building very small micro businesses. So AI has been extraordinary in terms of building their capacity to get more done. And not just them, but to be able to empower their support. So for many of them, they might have a VA or someone like that, a virtual assistant who helps them. Things like, for example, brand voice. So quite often, an assistant might be trying to word emails or word some kind of it might be, a social media post for them. They don't know what to put in the caption. That takes a lot of legwork out of that for the expert. But what I've done for everybody is help them create their own brand voice in ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI they're using. so that it's not just them, but it's their team can tap into that brand voice, write things professionally, use the terms and the approach that they use. And the other things that we've been using is there's some great tools like copy.ai. Copy.ai is great if we have experts who have they might have written a book or even a whole series of blogs. And we can pull that out and repurpose that content with tools like copy.ai, and it will automatically, it has, even things like a workflow. You can put in, you might say a chapter in a book. Here's the chapter, and here's the Facebook post, here's the LinkedIn post, and it extrapolates that out of the content. So the big thing is leverage
Mhm.
and empowerment for the team. And, we've had like situations where people have been able to, so we're definitely, what we're not saying is outsourcing the thought leadership. We're definitely not doing that,
Mm.
where it might be a little bit of brainstorming to come up with some prompts or ideas, but I'm still very much about it's your original IP, it's your thought leadership. You've got to know your stuff because you've got to be speaking on stage and running workshops and coaching programs and interviewed on podcasts. You've got to know what you're talking about. So we definitely have an infrastructure in place that they are genuinely coming up with their original ideas. But AI is very helpful in coming up with the research. Research was probably our biggest challenge in trying to do it quickly, but AI has also been really helpful for that too.
Yeah, yeah. I think the important thing is to understand how to do the prompt engineering so
Yeah,
that
that's right.
it goes down the right track. And I've,
Yeah.
I've been experimenting recently. It's been really a lot of fun
Have
reading
you?
about how it
Yeah.
works. And I created a GPT that is based on my book, Navigating Career
Right.
Crossroads. So
Yes.
I call it Jane Career Coach GPT.
Yes.
And what it does, if someone asks, I mean, you can read the book and then you've got the information anyway. But I
Uh-huh.
thought, why don't I put it into a GPT and see how it goes? So when you ask it questions, it pulls out the information from my book. And I spent a year writing the book,
Yes.
many years ago now, but
Yes.
and I've updated it 3 times since, so it's still relevant. But it makes it so easy for people. And my mission, I asked you about your mission earlier, but my mission is to make careers guidance accessible and affordable to everybody who needs it. And
Right.
so that is one way of fulfilling
That's
my mission. It's like a tick off my
fantastic.
bucket list. And so even though I'm quite long in the tooth now, Jane, you can still teach an old dog new
I
tricks.
love it. You're just warming up, Jane.
Well, I'll probably go on, and as long as I can talk, Jane, I'll carry on into my 70s and 80s, I'm sure.
That's
But
right.
now, very exciting things happening for you. You've got all these events coming up, Jane,
Mm.
and I attended one of your fabulous events online during, I think it was the early days of COVID when I did it.
Yeah,
It's your
that's right.
content creation boot camp. And now
Yes.
you've got two coming up, one in Bali very soon, and one in Kingscliff in New South Wales. Lovely spot at
Yes.
Paddens. So tell us about content creation boot camp, how it works, and why we must all attend. I mean, I can tell
Yeah.
you why you
Well,
must
you've
attend because it's
been,
fabulous.
yeah, yeah, you've been, and we're still friends. So that's good. So people can go, oh, boot camp, what are you going to do
It
to me?
works, it works.
Yeah, well, it really came about because I was struggling to get focus on my own thought leadership and IP, and I would go and hide and come up with my content, and then other people were struggling. I'd go, do you want me to book a room? And we started to do it together. So that's how it was born. And so we've had over 600 people go through through the content creation bootcamp now. So I've been doing them since 2015 for some time. Yeah, the idea is we create a year's worth of thought leadership in 2 days. So that means we have people who get manuscripts of their books done in 2 days. They get and because building a thought leadership practice is about building out assets that can be repurposed and are commercially smart. So what happens is that I find a lot of wasted content and a waste of thought leadership in people's practices. So this is about building the asset that can be repurposed into blogs, newsletters, podcasts, videos, social media posts, workshops, keynotes. So it's think once and then you can use often. And so it's all about leverage. And so the ones that we have coming up in Bali, and then we have Kingscliff. So It's nice to be able to go away and have a few cocktails after a big day. So we thought we might try that this year. So yeah, they're coming up, and it's amazing. I think we work in 10-minute blocks, so they're really short, sharp sessions, and most people walk away realizing, wow, isn't it incredible what you can do with a bit of focus and to, create something that is an asset that's commercial and for your business. And they can get it done in a couple of days. The beauty of it is, we find too, for a lot of women, we could do it at home, but they go, oh, but the washing machine's going, or, kids need things, or there's too many distractions at home. So it's really nice to be able to get away and also hang out with other people who are doing it rather than sit by yourself in a hotel room. So looking forward to those. And now that AI has come in, we use it to be able to help us with a couple of aspects of unpacking it. And so we've gone from actually unpacking on we've had two people break the record of 72 pieces of thought leadership
Wow.
in the 2 days now. So
Mm.
it's starting to pick up, but it's amazing what you walk out with. We have some people who have written their book in 2 days, and it's all their original IP. We're not running everything through AI or anything like that. It's not like if I asked you about the content, could you talk to me about it? It's not like it's all been outsourced. It's all original IP, all thought leadership, and all leveraged. Yeah, so it should be fun.
It's such a powerful time going through your boot camp because I remember when I went through it, and initially I thought, oh, there's so much pressure, 10-minute blocks, I can't think, I can't think. And then you get on a roll and knowing
Yeah,
that
that's
everyone
right.
else is doing it too. I ended up with 52
Did you?
wonderful ideas, and so
Yep.
that's a year's worth of content. And so
Wow.
honestly, it's so valuable. If anyone hasn't gone on Jane's content creation boot camp, I think the idea of going to Bali in June sounds wonderful. And if you can't make it in June, then September in Kingscliff in New South Wales. Jane, I could sit and talk to you all day, but I know that you're a very busy woman. And what I want to say is Jane is the author of 13 books. 13 books, all worth reading. And there's one in particular, Put Yourself Out There, Elevate Your Presence and Increase Your Influence. And I think for every entrepreneur, every consultant, that's what you want to do. You've got to be brave enough to put yourself out there, increase your influence, attract the opportunities you want, and have a lovely life, basically.
That's the
It's,
game.
yes, and it's a lot of hard work, but you know what? Hard work is thrilling too, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, yeah. Well, I love the quote from Pavarotti who said, people often say to me, you're so disciplined. And he said, it's not a discipline, it's a devotion. And I think
Mm,
it's about your life's work. So it's more than a career, it's a calling.
mm.
And it's about your impact and what you bring to the world and the biggest, what you can have the greatest contribution to the world.
Mm. And you've made such a huge impact on me and so many people. So I want to say thank you so much. It's such a
Thank
thrill.
you.
It really is a joy talking to you, and I enjoy it so much. And the fact that you've come back after 9 years, I don't think I should wait another nine
No,
years.
let's not do that.
Thank you so much, and
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful Easter break too.
Thank you, you too.
Bye now. If you enjoyed today's episode of Your Career Podcast, please subscribe because it helps me to reach more people looking for career inspiration and support. And I have something for you. Download my career resources at janejacksoncoach.com. While you're there, take my 2-minute career success quiz. You'll get your results and analysis immediately and recommendations tailored to your specific career needs. See you soon.